Welcome back to another exciting Post UTME practice section. In today's lesson, we'll be tackling some well-selected biology questions with very detailed explanation to sharpen your understanding and boost your chances of success. Whether you're aiming for a top score or you're just brushing up for knowledge, stay tuned because by the end of this video, you'll be answering questions like a pro. Question 1 says, the concept of survival of the fittest was proposed by dash. The concept of survival of the fittest was proposed by dash. A. Gregor Mendel, B. Charles Darwin, C. Louis Pasteur, and D. Carl Linnaeus. The correct option there is option B, Charles Darwin. He proposed the concept of survival of the fittest. Charles Darwin explained natural selection. Individuals with favorable traits survive, reproduce, and pass those traits on. Mendel, on the other hand, is the father of genetics. Pasteur worked on germ theory, and Linnaeus developed the concept of binomial nomenclature. So the correct option there is option B, Charles Darwin. The next question we have says, which kingdom contains organisms that are multicellular, eukaryotic, and autotrophic? Which kingdom contains organisms that are multicellular, eukaryotic, and autotrophic? Option A, Animalia. Option B, Plantae. Option C, Fungi. And option D, Protista. The correct option there is option B, Plantae. Plantae are multicellular, eukaryotic, and produce food through the process of photosynthesis. Animalia are heterotrophic. Fungi, they absorb nutrients, and the Protista are mostly unicellular organisms. So the correct option there is option B. The Plantae, they are multicellular, eukaryotic, and they produce their own food. Question 3 says, during aerobic respiration, the final electron acceptor is dash. During aerobic respiration, the final electron acceptor is A. ATP, B. NADH, C. Oxygen, and D. Carbon dioxide. The correct answer here is option C, oxygen. In aerobic respiration, electrons from the NADH and FADH pass through the electron transport energy and finally combines with oxygen and hydrogen to form water. Without oxygen, the chain stops, halting ATP production. So the correct option there is oxygen. It is the final electron acceptor during aerobic respiration. Question 4 says, which of the following diseases is caused by a protozoan? Which of the following diseases is caused by a protozoan? A. Tuberculosis, B. Malaria, C. Cholera, and D. Influenza. The correct option there is option B, malaria. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium, a species of a protozoan transmitted by the female Anopheles mosquito. Tuberculosis is caused by a bacterium. Cholera is also caused by a bacterium. Influenza is caused by the influenza virus. So the correct option there is option B, malaria. Question 5 says, which vitamin prevents rickets in children? Which vitamin prevents rickets in children? Option A, vitamin A, B, vitamin B12, C, vitamin C, and D, vitamin D. The correct answer there is option Z, vitamin D. Vitamin D aids calcium and phosphorus absorption, essential for strong bones. Deficiency in children causes rickets, which is characterized by soft, weak bones and skeletal deformities. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption and bone health. Which of the following organelles is responsible for the protein synthesis in a cell? Which of the following organelles is responsible for protein synthesis in a cell? Option A, the mitochondria, B, the ribosome, C, the lysosome, and D, the Golgi apparatus. The correct option here is option B, the ribosome. Protein synthesis is the process of creating proteins from amino acids based on the instruction in the RNA. Ribosomes are the molecular machines responsible for reading the RNA code and assembling the corresponding polypeptide chain. The mitochondria produces ATP, lysosome digests cellular walls, and the Golgi apparatus modifies and packages protein. So the correct option there is option B, the ribosome. The next question says, which blood group is known as a universal donor? Which blood group is known as a universal donor? Option A, group A. Option B, group B. Option C, group AB, and option D, group O. The correct option here is option D, group O. Group O has no A or B antigens on its red blood cell, so it can be safely given to patients of all blood types. However, it has both anti-A and anti-B antibodies in plasma, so plasma transfusion from O is not universal. Group AB is the universal recipient because it has no antibodies against A or B antigens. So the correct option there is option D. Group O is known as a universal donor. The next question we have says, the final stage of ecological succession is called dash. The final stage of ecological succession is called dash. A, the pioneer stage. B, the climax community. C, the serial stage. And D, colonization. The correct option there is option B, the climax community. Ecological succession is a gradual process by which ecosystems change and develop over time. The climax community is the stable, mature ecosystem that forms after all the succession stages, with little further change unless disturbed. So the correct option here is option B, the climax community. It is the final stage of ecological succession. This question says, which part of the human brain controls balance and coordination? Which part of the human brain controls balance and coordination? A, the medulla oblongata. B, the cerebrum. C, the cerebellum. And D, hypothalamus. The correct option there is option C, the cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates voluntary movements, maintains posture, and ensures balance. The medulla oblongata regulates involuntary actions like breathing and heartbeats. The cerebrum handles thinking, memory, and voluntary movement. The hypothalamus, on the other hand, controls hormones and homeostatics. So the correct option there is option C, the cerebellum. It is a part of the human brain that controls balance and coordination. Question 10 says, in flowering plants, double fertilization results in the formation of dash. In flowering plants, double fertilization results in the formation of dash. A, 2 embryos. B, 1 embryo and 1 endosperm. C, 2 endosperms. And D, 1 pollen tube and 1 ovary. The correct option is option B, 1 embryo and 1 endosperm. In double fertilization, 1 male gamete fuses with the egg to form a zygote, which is known as the embryo. The other male gamete fuses with 2 polar nuclei to form the triploid endosperm, which nourishes the embryo. We have a bonus question. It says, which of the following structures is found in a plant cell but not in animal cells? Which of the following structures is found in plant cells but not in animal cells? A, the mitochondria. B, the cell wall. C, the ribosome. And D, the nucleus. The correct answer is, leave the answer in the comment section. And that wraps up today's biology post UTME practice. I hope you learned something new and gained more confidence for your exam. If you enjoyed this section, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more detailed questions breakdown. Remember, consistent practice is the key to success. See you in the next one.